Okay. So, Clay, did you want to go over that question of the week?
Yeah. So this week I bought a copy of Nonstop Spider-Man, and it opened up with a smiley face, like from Watchmen. And so I was kind of caught off guard because I was like, that's pretty bold to try to do something we've seen in one of the biggest comics. Now, it may look more like an emoticon, but I sent a copy so that everyone could see. Is there something in comics that somebody has done that no one will try to do again? What has been done? Like I felt that was kind of a hit at Watchmen to open up a story with like a smiley face, but it was more of an emoticon. It didn't matter to the story later, so it wasn't that important. But it triggered that question for me. So is there anything you think out there? Because I even thought like, well, no one would write themselves into a comic book like Grant Morrison did, but then people have done that. So is there something out there that is untouchable?
I have one. And actually, I misinterpreted this question. I thought you meant like what can comics do that nothing else can do? But I see now what your point is. Mine would be one of my all-time favorite. I bring it up every chance I get. Single issue one-shot comics that I bought when I worked at the comic store back in the early 90s called Long Shot Comics by, I think it's Scott Simmons. And the conceit of it is that he wrote and drew a comic that is very much like a 19th century novel. And he painstakingly drew in like 19th century kind of printmaking, etching look. But then to make it fit to a comic, he shrunk it down so much that they're just dots. And so every page of the comic is like probably around like 60 panels because they're all about the size of a stamp, and every character is just a dot, and then you just have word balloons. And
okay. I think you brought this to comic book.
I think I did. Yeah. It is one of the most amazing comics I've ever read because it looks and feels like a 19th century novel, and you begin to identify these characters, and they're just dots. It's brilliant. It's funny. It's kind of heartbreaking at times. And it's a 25-page comic book, just a one-shot comic. I can't imagine anyone else other than him ever attempting that again. So
okay,
that's my example.
So the thing I came up with was, I guess it was kind of two things, but the first one doesn't really count because a lot of people homage it. But I think they'll always know that it is a Frank Miller thing. And that's having your character jump over in front of lightning. And I think whenever we see it in a comic, it's not because like it's just an homage and it brings back that Dark Knight Returns panel. But the other thing is also to make your comic super long, like the 300.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I don't think I've seen another comic that has those dimensions, and there might be out there. I just may not have found it.
There is an X-Men annual, and I believe it was by Sean Phillips, like in the early 2000s, that did it in that format, and it is, I'm sorry, but it is ugly as fuck.
Yeah, so I think that's what I'm thinking of, that 300 long, super widescreen format of.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm looking. I believe I bought this digitally just because you brought this up in a while. I couldn't believe.
Oh
you.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, there's some really funny moments. There's a moment where the main character, because again, it's all set in the late 19th century. The main character works in a mine, and there's a moment where he and his new wife, they've just gotten married, are going to consummate their marriage, and they don't know what to do. And it works so well because it's just dots in a black panel. So all you get is word balloons of them trying to figure out what to do. It's really, really great. So
okay. All right, Clay. So was the first thing your answer, or did you come up with anything else?
I have struggled because I feel like anytime somebody does something in comics that it kind of gets repeated a lot. So I don't know anyone who has defied storytelling to tell one thing that no one else will repeat.
Yeah, there was one more thing and I couldn't find it. but it's I believe it's in one of Jeff Lemire's Bloodshot issues. So at the beginning of the story, for whatever reason, Bloodshot got his eyes blown off, so he can't see. So the whole comic is in darkness.
Oh wow!
It's just word balloons.
Who drew that?
I think Jeff Lemire did. I think they saved the artist and Jeff Lemire
That is
just did the whole
genius.
thing.
We haven't seen since the Snowbird Alpha Flight issue.
I hate to say it. I think there's an earlier example, and that is a Spirit story where he also goes blind by Will Eisner. And I think it's all told in black panels. I think I have a very vague memory of it.
Okay, if I find it, I'll try to drop the images on here.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think by the end of the issue, his eyes are finally regenerated enough that you can actually see stuff. But I thought that was a pretty interesting way to make somebody spend $4 for all blank pages.
Because they've done Daredevil gets his sight back a couple of times in the comics, so it's always like, oh, what's the most important thing to Daredevil at the time? And actually, one of them's really good. It's the Secret Wars 2 Daredevil tie-in issue. Beyonder gives him sight.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go track that one down. Hang on.
And I'm not sure if it's the same issue or another issue, but there's a moment where Daredevil's given his sight. And so what do you think the first thing he does when he gets his sight? Who does he want to see?
Karen?
I'm going to guess, his friend. I just blinked on his name.
Foggy.
Yes.
Jon Favreau. Yeah, thanks.
Jon Favreau.
I want to go watch a Jon Favreau movie. First thing he wants to do.
It just shows him he gets to see Foggy as his eyes just start to go away. So it goes from the art to the outline of the way he sees everyone with his senses. And it's actually weird because it's kind of like what you saw in the Ben Affleck Daredevil with Elektra. Like he can really see her in the rain kind of moment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Cool. So it's been done a couple times, but it's like I'm looking for that moment that no one else could do in comics. Like they've done a story and it doesn't become a trope.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go to recommendations real quickly and we'll finish out the show. Clay, let's start with you because you made me, whatever.
My recommendation is a film I saw on Netflix called Made You Look. And I really want to get Josh's take on this because this is about art theft and forgery.
Interesting.
And
so as a resident art thief, Josh would have the most insight.
Actually, Josh, when we go off the air, I'd like to collaborate on some theft. I would like to fake some art because it looks like these people have too much fucking money.
It's that whole I talked about that somewhere else. The whole gatekeeping of the art world thing.
With your comic
it
scholars
was. It was. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
So
I'm crossing the streams here.
Are you familiar with the Knoedler in? I think it's New York. Knoedler and Company was a art gallery.
Mm-mm.
There's
an artist named Knoedler. I don't know if maybe that person's related to him.
These people are mega rich, so they own this. They own this gallery, and they hired this woman, Anne Friedman, to run it. So she would make purchases and maintain the collection, as it were. And slowly over time, fakes start showing up in there, and so people who had bought art thinking it was specific artists are now coming back saying, well, it's not, so you owe me money. And my argument is, if you enjoyed the art, you got what you paid for.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting take because I don't want to give away any spoilers for the way it plays out, but it's definitely worth watching. It's crazy the amount of money some people have to just buy shit like this. And to see who makes money from it and who doesn't is the better story. But I really recommend it if you're... I don't know. It just gives you a perspective of people in the art world and people who have too much fucking money. I mean, that's really it. And then at the end, you're just like, wait a minute, they paid how much for a painting that wasn't real, but still enjoyed it for 16 years and then wanted their money back? I really enjoyed it, but I think I would love to get your take on it if you could watch it and come back with a review.
Sure. Yeah, I added it to my watch list on Letterboxd, so I'm gonna watch it soon.
Like, is there? It would be like getting an ultra rare comic, reading it, and then finding out, oh, someone else did this. This is a.
Yeah,
I didn't enjoy that.
I was as you were describing that, I was thinking back to our discussion about the bad idea comics, right? It's that it's what is the true purpose that people are buying this for?
Yeah.
Is it to enjoy it, or is it because they think it's going to go up in value? And those can be related, but often are not, right? So
what is the speculator market like in the art world?
Oh God, don't even look at the history of the art market in the 80s and you have your answer.
Okay.
Because that's basically what it was.
Yeah.
That's when a lot of corporate art collections began. And they didn't usually begin because there was an honest sense of we like art and we want to collect it. It was much more about these are investments that are going up in value faster than stocks are. And you get to a point when that occurs, the classic bubble where the snake begins to eat its own tail. And that bubble burst right around 1990, 91. And it was bad. It was really bad. So
there was paint everywhere.
Yes.
Well, this movie did one thing. It taught me a lot about art because there was a lot of stuff I didn't know. The art that they do hijacked in there is very documented art from oh my gosh, some of the artists I'm trying to think of who did Pollock and his group of people that were very studied and very documented on their art styles. They would have some of those pieces show up that were never documented at the time, so it was like suddenly there was this new piece of art. And she was discovering it for 10 years, all this new art that was never documented.
Yeah.
In the same vein, I think there are two books that came out the same year about this, but it was also written about by Errol Morris in the New York Times. It was like a special series that he did. Famously, I want to say either right before or during World War II, a bunch of paintings by the Dutch Golden Age master Jan Vermeer were discovered. And when you go back and you read about these, you're like, how could anybody have believed these were by Vermeer? Because they were all fake. They were by one guy.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Vermeer is famous for doing these domestic scenes that are, of the time period. They tend to have very kind of vague sort of in the middle of, there's not really stories, but there are hints of things happening.
Yeah.
Every one of these fake Vermeers that suddenly hit the market were all religious scenes. They weren't even composed in ways that looked like Vermeer, and yet they would get Vermeer experts to sign off on them. And it becomes this complicity between highly trained scholars so excited that they were at the forefront of new discoveries, they're overlooking all the clear signs that these are not real. It's absolutely fascinating. And so I think one book is called The Man Who Made Vermeer. There's another one that came out. Again, they were like the same year that both books came out. It's a fascinating story. So
now, do they touch on that in the documentary Tim's Veneer? Have you seen that?
I own it. I have yet to watch it. So they may.
Really?
I don't remember. I know it's been in my queue for literally years. So
It came out 8 years ago.
I know.
Okay, so Tim's Veneer is about a guy's search to understand the painting techniques used by him.
Mm-hmm.
And so he just literally repaints every painting.
Yes.
And that's the documentary. Wow.
And it's by Teller.
Penn and Teller.
Yeah. So
All right.
Anyway.
Well, with that, we'll transition to Josh's
I
recommendation.
got us way off track. Mine is a very.
I just wanted.
Oh, sorry.
I dropped one more note in there because I wanted everyone to kind of take a look at this. This is in the show notes. I posted a link to a Reddit deleted post from Old School Cool, just because I felt like this was a pretty neat moment. A guy posted in Old School Cool a picture of his dad and said, "My father passed away unexpectedly on February 27th. I just wanted to share a cool tidbit about my dad." And it's a picture of him in the movie Real Genius, and he's with the whole cast. And it's kind of neat to see all the comments and people who were moved by his performance in this movie. And so even though it's been deleted, the link is still there, and you can read all the great comments about him. So if you enjoyed the movie Real Genius, this guy's posted a picture of his dad who played I cannot say the last name. Ikigami? Ikigami?
Like,
yeah. And enjoy the link because it's got a lot of really heartwarming stories this guy got to see about his dad that he just didn't know about, because he only did like 4 things. He did this movie, a couple of TV shows, and one other movie. And I don't know, just enjoyed it. Great moment on the internet.
Cool. I'll post that in the below. All right, Josh.
I don't really have a good one this time, so I've defaulted to a humble bundle. But it's a humble bundle of a game that I really, really like called Stellaris. It's put out by Paradox Interactive, who I promote way too much in my life. What's great about Stellaris is they took the model of the games they're most known for, which are these grand strategy games set in history, right? So Crusader Kings 2 and 3 are by them, and Europa Universalis is by them. There are these grand strategy games, but they're very crunchy in terms of history. They took that model and said, let's put it in space. Let's be speculative about it. And so this humble bundle has, almost, not quite, almost everything they've put out for this game. This game is so much fun. You start off as basically you're on a planet, and the whole conceit of the game is you have hit the technological moment in your society where you can explore beyond your galaxy. And so it's very much an exploration game. There's a lot of diplomacy when you start meeting other aliens out there. There's a lot of archaeological discoveries that are quite fun. Like you'll scan a planet and suddenly it has this weird thing, and you go off in this whole trek of what's happening there. So with this humble bundle, for $1 you get the base game, and I'll tell you that's almost enough, right? But if you pay the full amount, which is $15, you get tons of DLC. You get Leviathans, which is kind of its own sort of story that they put in there. You get Ancient Relics, which adds more of these archaeological discoveries that you find. Really, really fun game. And if you're still stuck at home and bored, waiting to get the notice of when your shot will come, pick this up, start playing. It will bide the time. Trust me. It's a lot of fun. And if you play and you want to jump into a multiplayer game, let me know. Happy to do it. I've never played multiplayer with it. I would love to do it. It'd be fun. So,
you can hit up Josh at Cosmosis. We'll put a Twitter link below. This supports One Warm Code, one of the charities, and Girls Who Code, as you can see here. So yeah, that sounds pretty rad.
Yeah, it's a really fun game, and those are 2 great charities to support. So
okay, thank you. Well, my recommendation is not as cool as that one.
I'm not sure I would describe that as cool, but go ahead.
My only recommendation, and here, hold on. Sorry, I need everyone's attention for this.
All right.
This week, we are getting the release of Zack Snyder's Justice League. So my recommendation for everyone is...
What is that about?
Go get out of here. Go watch Man of Steel. Then go watch the Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice extended cut. And then on Thursday, whenever that comes out on HBO Max, watch Zack Snyder's Justice League over and over until you run out of until you destroy your modem or whatever.
Okay, Daniel, I will do this. All right, I'm gonna go rewatch Man of Steel, partly because I think Hazel might want to watch it.
And I, of course, we are definitely going to cover in the show. I don't want to make anyone watch everything by next week because I would rather you guys take your time. It's a 4-hour movie, so I understand that we can't just talk about it on next Sunday.
Is it a movie at 4 hours? At 4 hours, that should be called.
It's an epic. You're right. It's an epic. How long was Ben-Hur?
He totally walked into that one, Clay. I mean, he just right into it.
How long was Ben-Hur or the Ten Commandments?
Ben-Hur
Those are super long, right?
Yeah, Ben-Hur's around 5 hours, I think.
Yeah, I remember watching
Ben-Hur. Ten Commandments is the worst superhero movie ever.
Well, it's because you.
I take it back. Ben-Hur is shorter than Justice League. It's 3 hours and 44 minutes.
Whoa!
See, those are pretty long. Titanic's super long.
What's that?
But Titanic's not like 4 hours long. Hang on.
It's over 3.
Yeah, it's over 3.
Okay, it's 3.5 hours.
It's 2 VHS cassettes.
I remember I had the thick pack. Yeah,
it was a double rental.
Yeah, so go watch that on HBO Max. HBO Max has a lot of really good programs, so even if you don't get it just for that.
So did you get both VHS when you would rent Titanic, or would you get the first part and have to wait for the second part?
No, I think you get them both.
I got both, yeah.
Yeah. But then they wouldn't tell you which one, because the Blockbuster doesn't have the picture. You can't tell which one's which.
Yeah.
So I remember we once started playing the second one at the beginning, and we're like, this doesn't feel right.
Okay, all right, quick quiz. You ready? Which of these 3 movies is the longest? Cleopatra with Liz Taylor, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, or Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet?
Extended edition of Lord of the Rings, or just the regular one?
I guess this is the extended.
Okay.
Cleopatra?
It doesn't say.
I'm going to say Lord of the Rings.
Clay wins. Cleopatra is 5 hours and 20 minutes long. Lord of the Rings. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Does it come with like a pee bag?
A bedpan. You get a bedpan and your popcorn's in it. You have to eat the popcorn first and then use the bedpan.
No, it comes with a popcorn and a soda inside, and then when you drink the soda, then you can use the same receptacle for all-inclusive bundle. Wait, what were the other lengths, Josh?
Oh, sorry. Return of the King is 4 hours 11 minutes. Again, I suspect that's
definitely the extended cut.
Yeah. And then Hamlet is 4 hours and 2 minutes.
Wow. And look, and that one doesn't even have Batman or Superman in it. Which one of those has Cyborg running as a high school student playing football?
Cyborg was in the Ten Commandments. It was a credit scene at the end.
Nice.
No, I thought that was Steppenwolf that showed up. My Lord Darkseid, we failed. They've escaped from Egypt.
Oh God, that's brilliant.
All right.
I want to watch this mashup now. That's so good.
I think that's a perfect way to close out the show. So thank you guys for listening to all this. If you haven't yet, subscribe to our podcast and give us a rating in whatever platform you listen to. If you're watching this as YouTube videos, we drop about 3 to 4 videos a week, depending on how long we record.
You're reacting to everything on YouTube.
That's true. Yeah. Well, listen, there's a lot of stuff to react. I didn't even know about that Unholy trailer. I didn't know that was a movie.
I didn't either. I saw that show up in the feed, and I was like, Daniel's reacting to stuff I haven't even seen yet.
Yeah, so if there's another trailer y'all want us to react to, let me know so I can give those guys a heads up.
The 10 Commandments.
Let's do it. 10 Commandments watch along in Easter.
But you have to create a separate video for each commandment. So
okay, sounds good. We'll rank them. We'll rank the commandments. All right. Well, subscribe to the show. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are at 60 subscribers, so 40 more, and then we can get our own URL, and we can make it something dumb, or we could just make it Next Issue Podcast. That's probably
dumb.
Hey, if we get it, it definitely should be Hail Bebo. So
Yes.
Oh, maybe. God, no, it's not gonna be that. Okay. Yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Share the video, like when the video, all that stuff. And until next
Smash
time,
that subscribe button.
smash it like.
until next time, keep reading comics.
Hail Bebo.
Bebo
Kyle.
loves you.
Yeah,
I can't do it as well as Kyle. That's my
Yeah.
sad attempt.
All right.